Hey, Red.
Hey, what's up?
Not much.
Hey. He's like,
Are you live yet?
Not yet.
Okay, now.
All right, welcome to theQ, where we talk about everything and anything. Yes, our discussion is always on the table. With me is one of my friends.
Hey, guys. Josh.
Joshua.
Hey, Bear.
All right. And the other guest is?
Corey Levier.
Yes, I was doing a show today with him today, getting his stuff started.
Absolutely.
Talk about what you're...
Absolutely. What we premiered my show on Sudie Landry's show, Louisiana Heartbeats. And we premiered my show, The Coast Show. It's coming to you real soon. It's going to be great. And I plan to be the voice of truth in a world of lies.
Nice. That's good. That's what we need now these days. Something that speaks the truth about things.
Yes.
These days, the world's filled with so much lies, and the world has a hard belief that we have no faith in there's going to be any truthful these days.
Yeah, man.
Watch the phone. All right. Well, today we'll be talking about different things today, different topics.
I heard it's interesting, man.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting today. We'll be catching people's emotions and feel how they feel about different things. Today we'll be talking about, no, not that side.
Wait, what?
I'll talk to him. Oh. Today we'll be talking about...
I gotta be...
Okay. All right, today we'll be talking about different things, just to find out the discussion of different topics that we will be having. Today's topic we'll be talking about, we went to see Batman vs. Superman
Hell yeah.
the movies, and I was like getting into it so deeply. The discussion I had for it was wrapped around that, and my friend Barry decided to make a discussion about that too, was if superheroes was real religion crumble or real religion be wrapped around their life story and how they are.
Okay, so say that one more time.
All right, if superheroes were real, will religion be wrapped around them or really crumble?
Well, does he want to go first?
You go ahead.
Okay, well, I believe if superheroes were real, religion would fall to its knees.
Okay.
Crumble, almost as if it never existed.
So it's like we need something to believe in, and if we, hold on. Hello, caller.
Hey, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. I'll repeat the topic for you, okay?
Okay.
All right. The topic of today was if superheroes were real, will religion crumble or will religion be wrapped around their life story?
They're probably wrapped around their life story.
Okay, cool. One of our friends on the show was explaining why it will crumble.
Right. I mean, I just feel that it would crumble because imagine most of the superheroes of religion, right, are things that we cannot tangibly touch, right? Like you can't reach out and touch a lot of the superheroes of what we know today as religion. You can't reach out and touch them. But if you have something you can touch and see and experience and let your five senses actually get a grip on, now it takes on a whole new tangible field, right? So we go from the intangible to the tangible. If we go from intangible to tangible with religion, it's going to crumble because religion is built on intangibles.
Okay. So it's just giving us
faith.
Yeah, it's built on faith.
Right.
We will lose faith.
It's built on ideas. Like Jesus was an idea. He wasn't like necessarily a physical being. He was an idea.
Yeah. Right.
And it was a great idea that people like rallied around.
Absolutely.
You know?
And if it proves that if superheroes are real, that means we'll drop everything that we've been learning since we were kids and since we've been in church. And then I think they will tear down all the churches and start making monuments to this superhero in the world.
Imagine a person, that experienced learning the knowledge that the world is a sphere. And they believed their entire lives that the world was flat. Can you imagine the mental shake that would give? So that's how deep it would be if superheroes were real, right? And
the
the
same
message
question about aliens. Like if aliens came down
That's true.
And like just landed their ship in the middle of Los Angeles, and then just start coming out and showing us all their technology.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
giving us
what would that do?
Well, in Louisiana, we just cook them gumbo and send them home.
But it proves that if things like if aliens ever existed, then they're highly technology advanced where they're at.
Right.
It proves that that we don't need to put our faith in religion no more.
Right.
I mean, we are not even man either. I mean, we're having these people that come from far away to introduce us to different cures, different things around the world.
Knowledge.
And I think if that ever happened, the whole world will crumble because
with the religious
the religious world and the business world too.
Right. Yes.
I mean, if everybody was cured of all the different diseases, cancer, AIDS, all this stuff,
any ill,
then people make more money off of people who are sick.
Yes.
So if that ever happened, the world will crumble because no one's not making money.
Right. The entire face of what we,
that's why we don't have perpetual energy.
Exactly. Which is why they fight so hard against it. But I believe the entire face of what we know as reality would change. The entire face of getting along, everything would change. The atmosphere on a global scale would change with the new information because first off, the only reason we're not more advanced as a society, as a Western society, is because truth has been hidden from us on purpose, right? So even if, let's take it to a reality point. Let's say superheroes, right? But even if we had access to the information that already exists, it would change the fabric of what we know as reality.
Like Area 51?
Maybe.
Maybe so. Maybe. Here's a side question to that too with the superhero thing. You think man can handle this kind of information if things like this was real?
Right. Well, my answer to that.
Exactly what the point I was going to make.
Right. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think the reason we don't advance as much is because it's easier just to let someone else do it. It's easier to let the government pay for everything. It's easier to, just sit back and just be an observer and not try. Right. That's the problem a lot of people have is nobody wants to try.
Right. Well, we've been conditioned to not try. We've been taught from birth to just, get a job, grow up, get a job, go to work, die, and start the cycle over again. Wow. So we've been conditioned almost to not try. And but your point was to what did you allude to right before he started talking?
I'll talk about we don't want. Shoot, I'm trying to remember.
Did you lose it?
Yeah, I lose.
Did you lose it?
I was going to say talking about. Can we handle?
Yes. Can we handle the truth?
The truth.
Right.
Mankind.
Right. And I had a very interesting point to make. Right. The reason you have to ask that question, right, is because we have been taught that we have limits.
Do you believe that we have limits?
Absolutely not. We are the most intelligent species on this planet. All the information that we have today is a direct result of human influence. Yeah. So, but human beings on a large scale have been taught that they have limits. They've been taught, like the caller said, not to try. Yeah. So the reason we ask that question, can we handle it? Can we do this? The human brain is the biggest computer on the planet.
That's true.
Right? So, if we put all the computers in the world together that exist currently today, they probably still wouldn't match the processing ability of one human brain. Yeah. Right? So we actually have abilities that we haven't tapped into yet for generations. Yeah. Right? So now, can we handle the truth? Of course we can handle the truth. It's just we've been taught that we can't. Right?
It's the year 2016, and I grew up in the 80s, and in the 80s they were talking about by this time period we'd have all this great technology, but we don't. And then people will tell me, well, it's because we don't think that people can handle it. Okay.
So you don't think violence is in our behavior? Or we're born to be violent?
Yeah, well, we definitely born to be violent, right? The appendages that we have, opposable thumbs, we have to eat, right? Depending on what circumstances you find yourself in, you have to be violent to provide yourself with food, right?
That goes back 500,000 years to when
Oh,
we were
right.
hunter-gatherers.
Or hunter-gatherers, right? We
Wow.
had to be violent to a certain extent, and violence is simply the act of it, right?
Okay.
I mean, imagine it is just as violent to chop down food in the field, gathering food, as it is to kill an animal. It's the same violence. Violence is the act of what you're doing.
Okay.
So violence is inherent to our culture as human beings. To civilization, violence is inherent. And it's time people get over it, right? It's time to just get over it. Because if superheroes were real, right, they would face some kind of opposition. Okay. That opposition could very well be violent because as human beings, our history as human beings showed us not getting along. Anytime anybody had a good idea, it was met sometimes with violence, right? So we have to accept the fact that violence is an inherent part of our culture, but we have to know when to use it. It's like having a hammer on a carpenter's tool belt. You don't use a hammer to cut the wood, you use a hammer to nail the nail.
That's right.
But you know, but we have to use the right tool to get the right results. And violence is a tool that we are using the wrong way in today's world.
Okay. Well, thank you, Carl. I want to make sure the lines are open right now. Call back in the few, okay?
All right, I'll call back later.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
All right, but it makes you wonder too if, let's say if God's was real, let's say there's more than one, let's say we found out there's legions of them up there somewhere, and they finally come to Earth.
Right.
Will our faith in the Bible change, or will it still be the same?
Well, it all depends. You see, the Bible has a lot of interesting stories. I mean, there's a story in the Bible that one day God is going to come back and split the world, split the clouds in two, split the atmosphere in two, and come in on a white horse to save the day. So a lot of people would attach something that profound, something that awesome to God, because we've been taught that God is the source of everything, right? Especially, and it doesn't matter which religion you are, you've been taught that God, what you see as God is the source of everything. So yes, there's a lot of people who are kind of like born followers, if you will. They're going to automatically jump on the bandwagon. I mean, it's a human condition to jump on the bandwagon for some people, and they would jump on the bandwagon and automatically just go for it. I mean, just go for whatever is closest. They would match whatever is going on in their life that closely matches what they see. So if they see something that, although it's obvious that, you know, the God they believe in did not make that happen, they would attach it to that because the core belief is that their God, the way they see God, is the source of all things. So you would have some people do it, and some people would experience cognitive dissonance, which is realizing that the core belief you had is not actually the truth. So you would have some people experiencing one thing and other people experiencing different things. But yes, to your answer, some people would jump on the bandwagon and automatically blame God or praise God for the events that they're watching take forward. You know, what we're watching happen.
I see this way. People want to put a face to something.
Yes.
They want to if there's God, they want to put a face to something so they can praise to it.
Right.
So if a superhero will come into the world and save people and start protecting people, they'll put a face to that and pretend that he is God.
Right. Well, I mean, 1,000 years from now, let's say a superhero showed up today.
Okay.
Right? The superhero is a huge guy of, let's say, obviously African descent. Okay. Right? Big, huge, strong guy. He's taking care of all the problems in the world. Well, somebody is going to make what do they call it? When you put all kind of pictures up and a shrine. A shrine. Right? Some humans are going to immediately start to praise this being. Wherever he's from, it doesn't matter. And some people are going to build shrines, and some people are going to create, because human beings, we have the ability to create. They can create an entire way of life around the worship of this superhero. Yeah. So, you know, and in 1,000 years, anything's possible.
We don't know.
Right? I mean, there can be an entirely new way of believing that would be surrounded by this superhero. Don't let him just happen to be what is it called, immortal?
Yeah, immortal.
Yeah. If he's immortal, everything now.
It tells you now that if they found out all the stuff about him, he's immortal, he did all this stuff. They're trying to connect the dots to it leads to he's connected to the Bible somehow.
Right, absolutely.
The Bible is proving that he has really existed. He's flying in the air. He's walking on water.
Right.
He's doing all this stuff, and he's helping.
Oh, look at this guy, man. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
I figured little cream, little sugar. I brought sugar. I didn't put any sugar.
Man,
I got a bunch of sugar.
Brother. It's all good. It's all good. This guy's a superhero. He's a superhero.
I'm about to praise him.
He's a superhero. Absolutely.
But it proves that what the world will want to put a face to someone that's
absolutely.
That's
you don't want them back?
I mean, what you think about it? If those superheroes was real, will religion crumble or will religion revolve around that superhero?
I don't think religion itself would crumble. I think new religions would spring up around it, probably what y'all are talking about.
Yeah.
But I think you would immediately have two people who are interpreting this living superhero's teachings differently, and you'd immediately have this guy who says, it's this way because Superman says so, and the other guy would say, no, it's this way because Superman says so, and then they would kill each other just like you.
Of course. It's certain TV shows and comics and stuff like that, and you put it to just of that if he then you have these other people that think, since he's all powerful and all being, could he destroy the world? And the people will put that he's probably not God. He's probably the devil sent.
Right. Well, you would have people, right? Who people wait for moments like this their whole lives. So you immediately going to have people coming out of the woodworks claiming that he's not what he actually claims to be. So don't believe in him. Don't do this. So
this Leo lied. If Jesus came back, we'd kill him again.
Right.
Because we would hate what he was doing.
Right. Oh, you're not Jesus.
Can you really and truly imagine Jesus coming back as the character that is portrayed in the Bible actually living?
Yeah.
Well, he probably does, and he's homeless. And
he's homeless, and people talk about him, and people treat him bad, not realizing that the very religion that they claim to have a foothold and a stranglehold on, the very religion that dictates their lives, right?
Yeah.
They're falsely representing it because they do not have the true.
Give up your things and follow me.
Right. They do not have integrity in their hearts where their religion is concerned. Because if they did, the world would be a different place.
Yeah. Well, and I think each one of us would be a different person because if you did have the integrity of your religion, your worldview would be different from year to year because you would see this or you'd see that and it would say, you know what, I need to start helping in this area. Yeah. This is important.
Right. And a lot of Christians, man, there's a scripture in the Bible that says they were first called Christians at a place called Antioch, right? Now, I've been in that area, right, overseas, but Antioch, they said because they were like Christ, right? Now, I haven't seen many individuals that remind me of the Christ I read about in the Bible, right? Because the Christ I read about, he was homeless, he was a wanderer, he gave people everything he had. His time. He gave his time. He was not hampered by materialistic endeavors. Yeah. You understand? As long as he had the basics of life, he was a happy person as far as the Bible portrays.
Well, it's like his line about, Solomon himself is not arrayed as richly as the lilies of the field, and the lilies don't worry about where their meal is coming from.
Right. Absolutely. And guys, just to speak to it, I know it's kind of off topic a bit if you don't mind, but I learned more from a tree than I learned from any human being that I've ever come across.
Oh, really?
Right? I had this tree, friend of mine, right, in the front yard, huge oak tree. And for a while, man, I used to meditate in front of this tree. And in my meditation, I started thinking about what kind of relationship does me and this tree have, right? Okay. Because if I want to accept it, I have to accept the fact that this tree is alive. It is a living being, and it's growing, and there's things going on that although I can't see with my naked eye, there's life happening here, right? So I sat there and I meditated, and it came to me that this tree provides what I need to live, oxygen, right? The photosynthesis, you learn about it in grade school, right? So this tree provides life for me, literally provides life for me, and won't complain if I cut a branch off, if I cut a finger off, it won't complain. If I chop it down, the tree won't complain. If I kill the tree, it will not complain. But if I love the tree, it won't say thank you. If I, right? So this tree is completely objective. Good or bad. And it taught me that the only way to truly love someone and to truly be a representative of life is to love with objectivity and not get involved in the emotional content. Be a tree, right? So if a superhero came down here, my reaction to the superhero would be that of a tree. Right? Life continues on as it was. Glad that you're here. Glad that you're a life form that I can communicate with. But guess what? It doesn't matter to me. Right? I'm going to continue to live the life that I want to lead because I know I have the ability to. I'm not going to be swayed by all kind of different things that you call amazing because my brain is the most amazing thing on this planet.
Oh, wow. Nice, I love that.
That's fantastic.
Wow. Yeah, man.
Wow.
Yeah. How Ray Charles say I'm gonna make it do what it do, baby.
Well, no, I love the idea of the tree, love from the point of view of the tree, because it reminds me of the Tao so much.
Right.
It's like the bellows, you know, there's nothing in there, but you keep pumping and it keeps providing.
Right.
And it's like the universe. I mean, it's gonna provide whether you're there or not.
Yeah.
And so, what's your relationship to it? But I think that it also speaks to just that overarching idea of, you know, giving as just a matter of who you are and not as, you know, I think Jesus had a line about it.
Right.
There are different types of giving. People who give.
Well, there was a story in the Bible about a lady who came to Jesus, right? And Jesus was for lack of a better word, he was at a church. And there were people in the church, I mean, politicians, millionaires. And these people were saying, man, Jesus, here, you know, we give you $1 million. We're going to give you a car. We're going to give you a Bentley. We're going to give you a building. We're going to give you this. We're going to give you that. And there was a lady that came in, right, looking real poor, you know, probably a little dirty, you know, maybe her clothes might have been a little tattered. But she came in there and she put down what in today's world would be $1. Right? Yeah. And then Jesus stopped the giving and he said, for all of you here, this woman, without explaining it, you know, Jesus was like a pimp. He didn't explain nothing.
He didn't have to explain nothing.
Like, hey, listen.
They'll be reading about this.
Yeah, this woman gave more than everyone here. So you of course you got the bureaucrats, you know, more than me? I just gave you $1 million. What is a dollar compared to $1 million? I just gave you a Bentley. I just gave you this and I gave you that. And they came out the woodwork and Jesus said, no, this woman, this dollar was all she had. Was everything she had. So she gave more. Because she gave all she had. You have $1 million. You gave $1 million, but you got 9 more in the bank.
Yeah, you didn't give all.
You didn't give your all, but you a millionaire. Now let's test your faith, right? You got $10 million. You work $10 million, right? Let me see you give $9,900,000 and see if your attitude remains the same. Will you be a tree? Will you give freely of the life that you have? Or you just want to give a little bit and hold on to the bulk of it, right? And if you have the attitude, where the camera? You got the attitude or you want to hold on to the bulk of what you have? Newsflash, you're not like Jesus.
Exactly. And I'm not. I'm afraid to, man. But I recognize that. And
but you have to be honest with yourself first, which is one of the first lessons Jesus taught. You got to be honest with yourself, right? Because guess what? If a superhero came, right, you're going to be honest with yourself. Because
I
now.
think it's the grace thing. I think people, they get so wrapped up in, well, I'm going to heaven anyway. Come on, I'm a Christian. I'm saved. And they don't really worry about being humble, man. They don't really worry too much about.
Well, they forget the fundamental
if they're really
lesson.
right.
They forget the fundamental lesson, right?
Yeah.
Right. Grace, right? It's unmerited favor. Favor you did not earn, but that's for after. For Christians anyway, that's afterwards. You are gonna suffer greatly if you do not adhere to the policies and the standards that Jesus set for you in this lifetime.
Voltaire said that you're guilty of all the good you fail to do.
Right. And then the Bible says, if you know to do good and don't, that's sin. And sin cannot live in the presence of God. So, but my thing is, man, if the superhero just happens to be, which I would want with my entire heart, a righteous guy. Yeah. Can you imagine? Why not build a religion around it?
Yeah, well
look at it this way too. If he actually was a humble guy and doing all this nice and incredible things by helping people, sacrificing himself, and doing all this stuff like this, it makes you wonder: is he raising the bar so high that we have to live up to his standard now instead of?
That's kind of the ideal, though, is that we try.
Right, but
we're trying to live up to God's standard.
Right. Think about this, though. Right?
Okay.
Can we?
I don't think we can.
Right. No. I believe, right, in my heart. Well, not believe. Change that. Scratch that. Believe that. Right? I know that we can. Now, we might not be able to match his physical strength. Okay. But we can match his mental, emotional, and spiritual aptitude.
Especially when we're together, man.
When we're together.
Anywhere 3 or more gathered.
2 or more gathered in his name, dude, he's right there in the midst.
It's like a computer. When you have one computer, it's super cool. You have 2 computers and you link them up, it's a little more powerful than any one. It is. And then you keep linking them up. Man, human cooperation, that's the power.
Human cooperation is the single greatest power in the universe.
Amen.
But that's what we're lacking.
I believe that.
Right.
That's what we're lacking.
This superhero that you're talking about, this superhero could come to life in the form of humans working together.
Ooh, yeah.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine the giant that we would be if we worked together?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Stop the pettiness of money and stop the pettiness of
think about
stealing and killing.
The presidential.
Think about this, right? Now, if you are any type of religion or a spiritual-based person, right? You have to believe that we are one. I don't care which creation story you believe, we came from a source. There's a source of human existence, right? So if you believe there's a source of human existence, you have to accept the fact that we are one.
But see, it's the Orwellian thing, that like the pig said. Of course, all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. And that's where we begin to divide off into in-groups because, historically it helped us.
Right.
Living in the desert, knowing who was your friend and who wasn't, that was important.
Right.
This isn't the desert anymore.
Right.
This is a whole different...
But think about
who to trust, who to talk to.
Right. Emotionally, society is in the desert.
Yeah.
Spiritually, we're in a desert. Mentally.
Feels that way.
Mentally, we're in a dungeon underneath a desert. Right? So, but this was my point I wanted to make. Okay. Right? Now, imagine that we are all one, right? We're one body of human beings that's supposed to work together, right? Right now, our fingers are cut off, our arm is cut off, our shoulders cut off. There's pieces of us all over this earth working against each other. So any house, even the Bible said that a house divided against itself cannot stand, right? But human beings, if we are one, of course we're divided amongst ourselves.
Big time. So many ways.
Right. So we cannot stand as a human race. We cannot be the superhero. But if we were, right, just imagine if we get the legs working together. Right? The legs are the biggest muscle in the body. You get the legs working together, now we got something to work with. We might not even have a torso, but if the legs are working together, we are gaining ground.
Yeah.
We are gaining ground, right? We're gaining ground and we're moving forward. So it's about making the decision individually to come together, right? And you have to be the superhero.
I see it this way. I always believe this. If it takes a great disaster to pull everyone together, and it will take something greater than anything else to gather everyone around the world to pull together and work together.
Like Armageddon or whatever, Deep Impact.
Independence Day.
Independence Day, yeah.
Right. No, I'm gonna make a point after you finish.
Yeah, please. It was, I've lost my train of thought. Who was it that said, I've completely forgotten. You go ahead.
You get it back.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Now, great disaster.
Yeah.
Right? I would like to offer that we are living in a great disaster. Right? We're living in a great disaster. Yeah. The disaster, we're living in it, and we have to actually realize and accept that we're living in a disaster in order to start the process that takes us out of it. Then the disaster is a lack of spiritual life, right? Yeah. Another disaster is the destruction of the human family, right? That is a disaster, but it's not a disaster you can see. It's not something tangible you can touch, right? The destruction of the human family, you never get to see, because at 3 o'clock in the morning, when a 6-year-old is crying for his dad, there's nobody there to see that. That's right. Right?
Yeah, but nobody comes on the news.
Right, nobody comes.
Because, our drug laws.
Right, because
6-year-old cried to sleep all night.
Right, because of the destruction of the human family. Right, because of the destruction.
Well, because of arbitrary bureaucracy written by dead men.
These children do not have parents, and these parents do not have children. They're all just people trying to survive and live selfishly in a world that is living in a disaster. But because it's not a physical disaster, we tend to push it to the side.
It shows that too, that we only care, what the world only cares about when a disaster happens is what they can make out from it.
Right.
When people kill, when people shooting up places, when people, when a place flood, or things like that.
Right after a war.
We find a way to make money off of these people.
Right after a war, fortunes are made.
During the 2008 crash, it was popular to say, the symbol in Chinese for disaster is the same, or crisis is the same symbol for opportunity, which is an interesting point of view. But what do we do with that in the U.S.? We take that to mean, how do we make it an opportunity for the most powerful?
Right.
How do the most powerful eke a little more out? Right. 95% of income gains going to the top 1%.
Right, and can we create a cycle of negative energy that becomes so prevalent that it will never stop until you actually have.
But I mean, it's gonna be some crazy. The wheel is gonna go into a ravine.
I mean, with disasters going on and shootings and killings and murders going on.
Well, but we have to point out that, like for instance, the horrific attacks in Belgium.
That's horse.
We are still, even then, if you look at it statistically, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s have been worse. I mean, we are still living in a time where it's more peaceful. The problem is the prevalence of media and media that reports on disaster rather than reporting, on something more.
And we also have to take into consideration the power of the human mind. That's right. Anything that your mind thinks about begins to become reality, right? So you're watching all of these negative images on television. People are watching us right now, right? So these images they're scaring you, and they're creating thoughts that are destructive.
Well, divisive.
Right, divisive.
Who's out to get me?
Right, who's out to get me?
Exactly.
It's the boogeyman under my bed.
You know what it is? It is trumpeting cowardice. That's what it does. It makes people not afraid to wear their cowardice on their sleeve, but they don't realize that it's fear. They think that it's pragmatism.
Right, you think that it's power. They use it as power. They use the presence of fear as power. Really? Imagine a police officer, right? That in his heart, he wants to do the right thing, right? But he saw his buddy get shot yesterday by a teenager. Right? And he's passing by another teenager that looks just like the guy that shot his buddy. Right? So he's scared. But he takes that fear and he turns it into power. And he becomes aggressive. Because at the end, he loves his family. So he's using the love for his family as a catalyst for his power, and that power is being manifested as aggression and injustice. So
kind of
like Batman.
Right. So you have a cycle of fear, love, and frustration that is a perfect storm for violence and
for
injustice.
xenophobia and for as we said, division and saying,
Right.
you know what, I know you're equal too,
Right,
but my
but-
family's more equal. I got to come home to my
I gotta
family, and
come
if
home.
that means that I got to mow over you.
And a lot of people don't look at that. They don't look at that, right? And because the
talked
media
about that.
sensationalizes,
of course,
right?
everything that they can.
Anything
The
that
media
contributes.
is done, man. I mean, what we need is a fairness doctrine again. What we need is, if you're going to have Rush Limbaugh on the air for 3 hours, then you have some nut job liberal on the air for 3 hours.
Right.
If you're going to talk
Like
about Trump for an hour, then you talk about everybody
Right.
else for an hour.
Any topic is out there
that
gets a
used to be
fair
the
shake.
law.
Right.
That used to be the law.
Right. And when the law changed, of course, the world changed. Because you got to realize, man, only 6, maybe 7 families own all of the world's media.
Well, yeah, exactly.
So that's another thing we have to consider.
400 families own half the world's wealth. There's something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, right. With 8 billion people, you know what I'm saying? So
God, that's.
can you imagine?
None of us really can.
No,
imagine
none of us can imagine
what 400
because-
looks like in a 8 billion.
No,
It's billions
so
of
tiny
dollars.
it doesn't matter. So
mine cannot.
right. Imagine if us four here, if you owned,
Exactly, that's what it'd be. If I owned everything,
North
y'all owned
America,
nothing.
right?
That's-
North America,
yeah.
South America. He owned Africa, and I own the rest of the world.
Cool.
Right? And you
Well,
better,
now
you
you're
better not
talking.
mess up Africa. But you know,
I didn't say nothing.
Hey, how do you even get at
Yeah, how the hell I got out?
Because he hadn't said anything. You know, Africa doesn't
Yeah,
say
that is
nothing.
true.
though, man.
Yeah,
They're
and,
still-
you know, unfortunately, our voices are on mute right now. Right.
That is orchestrated.
Right, of course,
by
that's
the-
orchestrated. That's been on purpose because we wasn't always muted.
Wait, what did she get?
You know,
She gets Germany.
Yeah, she gets something. But let's say us
Got a
five
lot of
here,
going.
we own the world's access to information.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The world is going to look the way we want it to look because if we are fair-minded individuals, right? If we are righteous people, the world is going to look like a righteous place. But if we are not, if we have just a little bit of greed, if we have just a little bit of selfishness, if we have just a little bit of I don't care how the next person feels.
But I also don't want to malign the people in the so-called mainstream media because it's become a terrain that they can't avoid. They have to raise money.
Right.
They have to, according to their principles, so said, they have to.
But that's where fear comes in.
Exactly, but that's the thing. They have to show what are you going to be afraid of? How are we going to get people to turn to? Oh, well, what is that product in your house that may kill you? Stay tuned. They have to do that to sell ads. It's the nature of it. We need to change the nature.
And we have to change the conversation.
We have to make people fear what they cannot see or understand.
Right, and show them what they cannot see and understand.
That's right.
We have to become the eye and the voice of the people because if we don't, we continue down this road. And this road, we've been on this road, a lot of people think we've been on this road for like 40, 50 years. No, we've been on this road for like 5,000 years, right? Where we're continuing on a trajectory of destruction. Right, the destructive patterns of human beings is getting worse and worse and worse. So either we're going to change altogether, which is the way I want the world to go in, or we're going to accept the fact that we are destructive and destroy ourselves completely.
I told this to my friend one day. We were sitting down watching TV, and we watched all these movies, Independence Day, all these alien movies about us fighting these aliens, destroying them, and stuff.
Right.
And it makes you wonder that if they will come to Earth and try to help us out, we'll probably be just like what's that TV show?
South Park.
Yeah, probably like that though. But
That was a good
there's another alien show they had on there. But we try to kill them because we don't want help from them.
Right.
It's not that we don't want help, but we don't know how to take it.
We don't know how they. Man, listen. The fundamental human value, the thing that makes you human is your ability, right, to reason.
Yeah.
Right. And then once you have reason, the first thing you do is share. Right? Now, sharing is a very simple concept, right? It's me saying, okay, well, I have more than what I need right now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give this to you, right? Now, what you do with it, I do not care. And I do not care if you give anything back to me. That's real sharing, right?
Sharing.
Now, that's the type of sharing someone had to do with you when you were born.
Yes.
Your mother, think about it.
Yeah.
If your mother chose, because it's a choice, if your mother chooses not to share with you, your life is that much harder. But if she does, you get to grow. right? But the minute you stop sharing, you stop growing. And the human race as a collective, we stopped sharing a long time ago. That's right. As soon as we started to purposely destroy the family unit, we the first thing, all you got to do is stop sharing, right? Yeah. If I say, okay, well, listen, he came in here with this coffee. I have 4 cups of coffee, right? But I know I'm going to need coffee later. Well, I'm going to drink this coffee, I'm going to drink this cup, and I'm not going to give you guys any. He immediately creates a distrust.
When it's ego,
right?
You know,
it's ego, right? Yeah, exactly. It's ego.
There's evidence that ego is a more recent human invention,
right.
And there are games that are played in more indigenous cultures that are not competitive. All of our games when we're young are competitive, mostly. Yeah. Maybe some like even musical chairs and stuff.
Right. I've never played a non-competitive game in America.
Well, there is a game that is played in many different cultures. Because bananas are everywhere, and every kid gets a banana, and what you do is you break half your banana and you eat it, and you're looking for somebody else to give the other half to. You give the other half to them, maybe they give the other half to you, and then you break that in half and you eat that and you trade again. Right. And you keep doing that until you have no bananas, and it's nobody's losing.
Right.
It's
but
just
that's
sharing, but it's a
that's
game.
an indigenous trait. Think about it. Think about it. Right? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. You remember when what was that thing with Childhood's End, I think we had watched?
Yes, Childhood
End. What if God actually came down and he was in the form of the devil, like on Childhood's End? How would we react?
That's true.
That would be
let me inform you on this TV show.
I'm not familiar with it.
All right, this TV show was called Childhood End, where this alien creature came to Earth and to help society out. They thought they came to a certain point in time where they say it's time for society to be helped now. Right. So this guy came out and to be the sponsor for the higher being. Right. To find out that after he now revealed himself, he looks like the devil. Okay. Yeah. But he wanted to help mankind out. Right. Because the guy who looks like the devil was getting was getting information from a higher being than him. Right. What they call God. Right. And when he was trying to get this information, everybody was against it because
what he looks like.
For what he looks like. Right. But he was curing different diseases. Right. He was helping kids who was born with certain physical disability. He was stopping violence. He was stopping all the stuff in the world, and he was using the guy was using all the war stuff to spread around the world to help kids in different places that have no food and stuff. He said, why do we need battleships if we have no war no more? Let's take it and just spread it all around the world where people can get food.
Absolutely.
Well, it makes you wonder that too, if that would happen to us in society, well, people hate him for what he looks like or what he's doing.
What he looks like. You see,
go ahead.
In my opinion, the human condition has been splintered. Right, and has come so far from our indigenous origin that you have to have a shift of mental perspective in order to appreciate the non-tangibles. There's no other way around it, right? If you don't have training and education on the mental, spiritual, and emotional assets that you have, and the mental, spiritual concepts or perspectives that you have, if you don't have education and training in that area, you are you're going straight off image, right? That's why the world is condition is in. TV is imagery, right? So they are gonna allow whatever image that they see, they're going to interpret it with the information they have. And because they have no information on how to balance themselves emotionally, how to project themselves spiritually, right? How to mentally be strong, because they don't have that information readily available, there's going to be very few people that would not, it's going to be a lot of people that cannot be objective, because ignorance doesn't allow you to be objective. Ignorance
I don't think we can be objective, but we can strive for objectivity.
Right.
And I think that this plays back into the biblical discussion, where, for instance, in Genesis, God comes and says, I create evil and I sow discord. This is when God is truly the monotheistic, the God. And it brings me to a line that I don't know if I came up with, but I know we've all heard the biggest trick the devil ever pulled on the world was convincing man that he didn't exist.
Right.
I think it's the biggest trick that the devil ever pulled was convincing mankind that he does exist. Well, I think that the devil is how we justify division.
Right. Well, think about it this way, right? So, from my perspective, right? Yeah. If I had to say something along the lines of what he said, which is very brilliant, by the way,
you're brilliant, sir.
I would say the biggest trick, and this is gonna take it with a grain of salt, people. Okay. The biggest trick the devil ever pulled off in this world was convincing everyone that he was God.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Because we followed that.
Right. We follow that. And we're okay if God is angry. We're okay if God is jealous. We're okay if God is a murderer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right? But we jump down the devil's throat if somebody gets murdered.
We're quickly to blame.
Right. But right. Right? And if God does it, we say, well, that was part of the plan.
Yeah.
Right? So in my opinion, if I had to make a statement along those lines, I would say the biggest trick the devil ever pulled off was convincing everybody that he was God. Now, with respect to that, I'm going to put that to the side and tell you how I feel.
Okay, go ahead.
Right? Now, imagine if God and the devil were the exact same thing.
Oh my God!
Right?
Weird.
I was thinking the same thing.
Now, if God and the devil is the exact same thing, right?
Yeah.
Now imagine that God and the devil both are inside you. Now it's about which one you feed more is the one that manifests the most in your life. So now now you have to accept the fact, you see, but when you say, now it's easy. I've met brothers, I've met strong people, man, yes, I am God. God is inside of me. God is this, God is that. And I tell them, I say, well, guess what? If you're God, you're also the devil.
That's true.
Wow.
You have no choice but to be. Because if that's the case, if it was daytime all the time, we wouldn't live. Our entire lives would be different, right? So it has to be night and day. It has to be balanced. So if you want to be God, if you say you're God, guess what? You have to be the devil too. And the greatest trick that the devil, right? And when I say the devil, I mean negative-minded, manipulative people. Right? The greatest trick that smart men ever pulled off was convincing everybody that the devil was God, right? Because it doesn't matter, because the truth is God and the devil are the same.
Well, you know what it is? It reminds me of Star Trek, where they're trying to rescue a kid who broke a law, and on this planet, it's like, it's backward. Like, there's no crime or anything on this planet, but that's because you break a law, you die.
Right.
And they want to beam him out, but that would go against the Prime Directive, which is the law book that they are supposed to ascribe to. And it's that same kind of thing. If you want to say that God is, I don't know, this bloodthirsty murderer. If that is the case, then we need to have a more adult discussion about what God is.
Right.
But I look at it this way too. I saw this thing on Facebook where I was going through, and I saw this little quote that they had a picture of God with, and that this quote saying this: "I give you happiness, but I give you damnation. I give you life, but I also give you death. I am God, but I'm also the devil."
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
So it makes you wonder that, what if there is no devil? What if like you said, or one? Right. One cannot work without the other.
It cannot. Yeah. And that's a fact.
It's a fact.
It's a fact of life.
If there was no devil,
there was no God.
It would be overly good.
Right.
If it was just the devil, it would be overly bad.
Right.
We need a balance between.
And we've heard a whole lot of old wise people say too much of anything is not a good thing.
That's right.
So for me, it's about. You see, but when you claim to be so powerful and you have this spiritual identification as God inside of you, but you shun the devil inside of you, now you're off balance, right? And you're treating people as if you are higher, right?
Yeah.
That's where supremacy comes from.
Yes.
You understand?
Feeds ego.
Your ego becomes high because
high.
you completely disregard the negative energy you create. And you think your negative energy is actually a message from the positive one, which is God. But when you accept the fact, right, that your spiritual energy is both darkness and light, now you have to be responsible for it. And people are not ready to take responsibility for themselves spiritually because that is a great responsibility. And ignorance cannot survive in that type of light. You understand?
Wow.
Ignorance dies in that type of light.
Yeah.
When you shine a light on the darkness, it disappears. So ignorance disappears when you accept the fact that you have the power of God inside you, but you also have the power of the devil. You can be Gandhi and Hitler in a split second.
That's right.
Right? Have you ever seen a parent, right, that loves their children with all their heart?
Yeah.
But that child does something, destroys something, breaks a vase that's been in the family for 100 years, crash, and I mean, you see them lose it. They turn into this. They turn into this person, and then they catch themselves, right? Look,
to remember.
Just get away from me right now, right? And then later on, they say, "Listen, baby. Well,
what you did,
what you did was wrong, but the way I reacted, I could have reacted better." They catch themselves. Now, they were both the devil and God, right? But whichever one you give the energy to is the one that's going to manifest things into your life, right? Because don't get it twisted, right? You are responsible for everything, right? And it doesn't matter to the universe. It doesn't matter to God which animal you feed more, the good one or the bad one. The universe is just going to give you the power you need to make things happen. If you believe in evil, evil will flourish.
That's true.
Right? What Hitler did, right? What slave masters did, what slave traders did. All of this evil was flourishing because people joined together. So it doesn't matter.
They call it righteousness.
Right.
From their point of view.
And if you think it's righteous, it is righteous. If you think it's evil, it is evil. But it's about the coming together of the minds and the bodies and the vibrations and the frequencies, right? It doesn't matter if we want to destroy the world. We can destroy it if enough people come together on that tip, right? But if we want to heal the world and enough people come together with that mindset, we will heal the world. It's all about what you're going to decide to do. People have to begin to take responsibility for all of their actions, not just some.
Well, we have 3 minutes left on the show.
Oh, okay.
All
right. Well,
good show, man.
Well, before we end the show, we'll say one thing before we go, each person. I say it this way. I was watching this TV show, Tomorrowland, and they were saying, they had this good quote I loved on there when she said this to her dad. She said this to her dad: you have a positive side and you have a negative side. And she asked her dad, which one is stronger? And her dad thought about it and said, the one you feed the most.
Right.
Yeah.
And it basically lets you know that
Choice.
That's right. It's a choice. Instead of people are taking the responsibility for themselves and saying
they give their choices to somebody else.
They put their choices to someone else that no one can see or blame. They can blame.
Absolutely.
And they blame the devil for every work that he did.
Right. And they blame God for all the good stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
So
but you have to be equal with it.
It lets you know that it's our choice to be evil. It's our choice to be good.
Right.
So, you have anything before we go?
Absolutely. What I would like to tell your audience is, of course, the Coast Show coming soon, right, to a television set near you. Pay attention for it. And I want to remind you, which camera are we on?
That right there.
Right here. Okay. I want to remind you that you, not anyone else, is the most powerful person in your life. Right? You are the most powerful person in your life, and if anyone disagrees with you, tell them come on my show and talk to me about it, right? Because I'm going to prove to you that not only are you the most powerful person in your life, once your mind is made up, there is no force in this universe that is greater than a made up human mind.
Nice. Anything before we go?
I've very much enjoyed this, and I also like not being on screen. That's kind of fun.
Well, you know what I said it up.
I can make incredible.
Come on, man. Let me see your face real quick, man. Come behind us real quick. Yeah, there he is. There he is.
My shirt?
Yeah.
Yeah, very
Wait,
nice.
it's
See, we are one with the universe.
Yeah, we are.
Wait,
one.
it's transparent?
Oh,
Watch it. Hey, sure this,
that didn't happen. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. Nothing happened.
All right, well, we have 2 minutes left on the
Minute and a half.
Minute and a half.
All right, our next show will be next week at the same time, same time.
Give us a teaser.
And
What's the question?
our topic probably going to be is dreams. Is it a premonition or a pieces of we'll be able to put together to decide what is our next step in life?
Man.
No, dreams are completely meaningless.
Well, right. And I'm
Not
going to
all.
debate him by saying that dreams are the foundation of our existence.
Agreed. Well, Joseph Campbell said that the dream is the private myth, and that myths are our public dreams.
Yeah, there we go.
We're just talking with this. Dreams are a way to it's achievements in our dreams that we try to succeed in life.
That's it.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And to me, every dream has an interpretation.
Nice.
Every single one. And it matters in your life.
Nice. Well, we have less than a minute. Want to say see y'all next time. Thank
See
you,
ya.
callers, for calling in. Thank you for being on the show. Anytime you want to come on, you can.
Absolutely, man. Oh, one more thing. Dreams are like thoughts without chains.
Nice.
Nice.
That's the only way we can be free.
The only way you can be free is to dream.
That's
But you
right.
got to start dreaming while you're awake instead of dreaming while you're sleeping.
All right. Well, thank y'all, callers. So,
Y'all better tune into the Coach Show.
All right.
Yeah, tune into his show, man. It's gonna be even greater.
Hey, thank you guys. Love you. I love you. Are we good? Are we cut?
Are we good?
We are.
Yeah, no.
All right.
Yeah, we good now. Hey, man. Hey, great
good,
fucking
good.
topic, man. Oh, my God.
Anytime you want to come on, let me know.
All right, man. Probably next week with the dream thing. That would be
Okay,
great.
cool.
Let's say,